Okay, I'm going to do a quick tutorial here just as a refresher for what I covered in class today in terms of how to deal with this bench up here. And I've got another engagement I have to run off to, so I will actually do a second one that will include the tables and chairs tutorial. But at least I'll get this out now. I just got a text saying a few of you are trying to figure this out. So this shouldn't take too long. I'm out this morning in about 8 minutes, so let's get going. For starters, remember we're going to use this as a path, but not all of it. So I want to right-click and choose Explode Curve. And now I'm going to pick the pieces that I need, Shift-Select, Extensions, and Weld. Now that I've got that selected, I am going to use the Move tool and do a copy of that. I'm just going to drag it up here and type 1.5 feet. And now I've got my starting point. So from here, I want to draw a cross-section of the bench perpendicular to that line. And since I need to have a surface perpendicular to that, I'm going to go to Tools, Work Plane, and choose New Plane. As I mentioned in class today, I'm going to start by clicking on my kind of origin for the plane, and I want to define the vertical. Now, it doesn't matter how far you drag this up, just as long as you get the blue axis. And then next I want a perpendicular plane. So if I spin around here, you can see that that's not perpendicular, but this line is. And by clicking on there, I've defined that new work plane. And you'll notice if I hover here, it says double click to confirm, which I did. And now I've got a nice work plane that I can draw my bench cross section. To do that, I'm just going to use the rectangle tools. And the other thing I want to check is Window, Model Info, Precision. I want to go down to 1/2 inch, and snapping also to 1/2 inch, and then hit the Enter key. Okay, so now I've got that accuracy. That's so I can do a 1.5 by 3.5 inch 2x4, which is the actual dimension of a nominal 2x4. I will start here at the end, and you can see if you look at the value control down there, I've got 3.5 by 1.5. Then I'm going to double click on that, use the Move tool with the control to copy it, and then do a 3x. Okay, so I've got my 4 2x4s lined up there, which represent which will be the seat of the bench. Just double shift and double click on each of those, and I'm going to make a temporary group. I don't have to do this, but it just again keeps my geometry separate, and I'll ungroup them later to do the follow me tool process. Now I want to use the rotate copy. So this is my center of rotation, my reference point. Tap Control, and there's 90, and in class I just said, well, let's make this 100. And that puts me in a pretty nice angle. If you want to change it a little bit, that's fine with me. Once that's done, I'm going to move this to here, and then 1/2 inch above that. So again, you can see in the value control box in the lower right corner, it's at 2 inches. That's 1.5 and 1/2. Okay, so there I've got my cross section, my bench seat, and my bench back. Then I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool. And again, a couple of you in class today somehow did this and it wasn't lined up. But if you snap to there and you keep on this plane, it should keep it perfectly lined up with that surface. So this line should be right along the bottom of those. And since this is going to be another 2x4, I need to have it 3.5 inches, which again you can see in the lower right, and I'm going to make it 2 feet. So it's 2 feet long by 3.5 inches tall. Once I draw that, double click, group it, and now I can also do a rotate copy with that. So I'm just picking it. I can do it from here, it doesn't really matter, but I know I don't have to rotate it way back here, so I'm starting just somewhere in here. Click, reference, tap Control, and in this case I'm going to hover over that and then move till you see that magenta highlight, and now I know I'm exactly parallel with those. Now I'm going to grab this corner and snap it right to that corner. And again, you can see when I first started moving it, it wasn't quite catching it, so I zoomed in and got the corner, and now I know I can see it snapped exactly along that path. So I've got that in there, but it really doesn't line up I mean, I've got these extra pieces, right? And I don't really want that. So let's start with this one. Open this group, get the line tool, just draw across this intersection right here, activate the eraser, and erase these pieces. You can do the same thing with the horizontal one. Double click on that, activate the line tool, draw that, get the eraser, take care of that. So that will become my bench support and the back support, and we'll leave that for right now. I like all that right on that reference plane, so I can use that to start with, and everything's lined up. Now I'm ready to actually extrude the bench, so I'm going to select this work plane, right click and unlock it, right click and hide it, because it's kind of in my way right now. Now that I have this grouped and this grouped and this grouped, what I need to do before I extrude this, in order to do it in one piece, I'm going to select this and explode it, and select this and explode it. Okay, you do not want to explode these two. Some of you did that in class today. You don't want to do that, because the only thing we're pulling around this path are the bench seat and the bench back. So do not explode these two pieces. You'll see what we'll do with those in a second. Now that I have those done, I can select the path, and since I've welded it, I just need to click on it once, get the follow me tool, and well, I could start with this. Okay, I mentioned this in class. If you click on that, it will extrude each one of those around in the path. I'm going to undo that. That means I have to click on that 8 times. Since I don't really want to do that, it was actually a little premature hurrying through this, so I am going to go back to, well, let's go to View and Show Hidden Geometry. Right click on that and say Unhide. So now that I have that showing, I'm going to use the line tool and just create a surface. And you want to move this so you're not snapping to anything else. All I want to see is the magenta inference that says On Face in Group. Everywhere I go, On Face in Group. Just go all the way around the outside. And then back to there. And if you do that correctly, you should get a surface here that when you select it, it selects everything except what's inside these 2x4s, and that's exactly what I want. All right, now I can go back, select the work plane again, right click, hide it, and go back to View and choose Uncheck Hidden Geometry. So now I'm ready to do the same thing with the Follow Me tool. Click on the path, click on the Follow Me tool, move over this, and it just spun that all the way around. It pulled that along the path. I'm going to use the eraser, get rid of that, come over here, do the same thing. Once I disconnect it from these pieces, triple click, delete key, and you've got all that taken out of there. And since I don't have this closed in, just drag a selection around that, extensions, SU for you, make face. And now that bench is complete. The next thing I have to do are the supports, and that's what I've already started here. So let's give them some dimension. Open this up, push-pull, 1.5 inches, close group, right-click on that, edit group, snap it to there, same, right-click, close group. And now in order to line these up, I'm going to switch to the Move tool. I'm going to start with this one, and I am just going to move that to there. So that's what the way I want it to be. Horizontal on the outside, vertical or angled vertical on the inside. I'm going to make another copy of that. Click, Control, snap to there. That's good. Select the horizontal one. Move tool, click, Control, snap to there. Got everything copied. Now I will select this and this. And this is because I want to fit a 3.5 by 3.5 inch post in here. And this is 1.5 and 1.5, which is 3. So I need another 1/2 inch. I am going to use the Move tool. Actually sliding back on here for a second so I can get that. Again, I'm going to get that tool. There we go. Now I've got parallel to the edge. It says 1/2 inch in the lower right, and that means I know I have 3.5 inches between there. And while I have them all selected, well, actually I don't. I'm going to get this one and this one. Select them all, right click, make component, and call that bench support. Now that geometry won't be repeated everywhere. And if I want to edit these things, I think in class I talked about cutting those down. So if I want to do that, double click, get the line tool, click there, push pull, knock that out, and then I've got that done. If I want to do the other one, I can come in here, open that up, line tool, can zoom in, take that across, click. I'm not getting that snap, pull it across to there. Oh, that's because I am not in the group. So let's do that. Let's get inside the group, line tool, snap here, move over. Can't get that, take that. All right, let's see if we can move around and get that. Now this should be giving me the prompt for that angle. And since I can't get it, what I'm going to do is just get the line tool, snap to that edge, hit the line tool again, come over to there, down to there, and get rid of this line. So if it doesn't work, just use that to set up your, and then pull this over, and we've got that. So again, I'm not going to do it right now in the tutorial, but you can do exactly the same thing down here. Now, if I would have done that before I pulled them out into a thickness, then I wouldn't have to do this twice, right? So I didn't do that quite in the right order, but you can fix it. So that's a component now. And the only thing I really need to add is the post. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, open this up. And in this case, I will use the rotated rectangle tool. I'm looking at 3.5 inches. And then 3.5 inches there. Get the select tool, double click, make it a component, and call that bench support. And I've done this before, so I'll just say yes. Now that it's created, I want to move it up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's just hanging at the end there. It doesn't have to, just enough up there. There we go. And now I can open that up, go to push pull, and just snap it down till it hits the bottom of that. Okay, now I'm outside of that. I've got that entire thing grouped. To copy that around, I will select it, back to my move tool. In this case, I'm going to snap right there. Tap Control and snap that to the bottom. And since I want another support in the middle, I will do 2// You can see that in the lower right. Enter, and it puts that copy right in the center. Now that I've got one side, I can repeat that on the other. So click, shift click, rotate. Find the center of this right there, the edge. Click, tap Control, and snap to the end point there. Now you can see that that's a little tight there, but that's the kind of adjustment I can do. I can either, now that I have that, I can use the move tool, move those all down a little bit. Maybe I need to just move that one in. You can recenter those however you like, but I've got them copied, so I will do another rotate copy from, come on, leave me the center. There we go. Find that corner right there. Tap Control and snap right there. So once again, you can see in order to center those, I need to move this one down, maybe move this one in a little bit. Just to snap along the edge and pull that in and adjust it so that they're not interrupting each other in the front there. Okay, and that's how you put that bench together. 2 sections, the actual bench and back itself. Then you make one of these bench supports, copy that along one side, and then use the rotate array to copy it onto the other two edges. And that's how you put it together.